Hey guys, welcome back to Gaming News on REZZED. This is Neon, and we've got a gaming news roundup for you today. We're going to talk about some layoffs, the utter state of the video game industry. We're going to look at a trailer or two for some upcoming games, ones that I'm personally excited about. And we're going to talk about Trump's tariffs further decimating the video game industry or something. I don't know. So let's take a look at this. This is the big story today. Ubisoft is sunsetting X Defiant in 2025. Nearly 300 people are going to be laid off. The studios in San Francisco and Osaka will close. Production to be ramped down at Sydney. This is coming from gamesindustry.biz. Said Ubisoft has announced it's going to be sunsetting X Defiant in 2025, resulting in the closure of 2 production studios with layoffs affecting almost 300 employees. Ubisoft Chief Studios and Portfolio Officer is Marie-Sophie de Wabert. I can't pronounce these French names. Marie-Sophie, I can say that. Said that X Defiant had not attracted or retained enough players to continue the live service. Title of the game is too far away from reaching the results required to enable further significant investment. And this is what happened with Concord too. They're like, there is no way in hell this game is going to make the amounts of money that it needs to make, so we're going to shut it down. We're going to take the L. We're going to get a $400 million write-down on our taxes, right? And, we're seeing this more and more with these AAA titles from these AAA developers, aren't we? That people aren't buying their games. I can't imagine why they're not buying their games, guys. The San Francisco and Osaka offices will close and production at Sydney will be ramped down. 277 people are going to be made redundant. Half the X Defiant team will be transitioning to other roles within Ubisoft, according to Insider Gaming. A skeleton crew will be kept to run it until the server shut down June 3rd, 2025. Season 3 is still set to launch with new downloads, player registrations, and purchases. Those are not going to be available, I guess. So yeah, you can't register to play the game. So if you're like, hey, what's X Defiant? Oh, I want to play it. Oh, I can't play it because I can't register to play it. It said Ubisoft is going to continue to radically evolve its mindset for production and business practices. This is very important because they're not doing very good at selling games anymore, are they? Their stock is in the toilet. There are rumors that Tencent could buy them. Star Wars Outlaws was a massive disaster for them. Assassin's Creed Shadows, it turns out that half the staff working on that game have never worked on a video game before, and that's on top of all the controversy around the characters and the treatment of, historical Japanese accuracy, I guess, cultural accuracy. And players are tuning out. There's a lot of games out there to play. You don't need to buy the AAA slop, I guess. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to buy it. You don't have to support it. I'm not telling you to boycott anything. But a lot of people are choosing to. And these are people that aren't even, I don't think, are terminally online. These are just casual consumers taking a look at what Ubisoft is putting out, and companies like Ubisoft, other AAA developers, and they're like, yeah, we don't want it. We don't want your stuff anymore. We can go back, play old games. We can play, the backlog of games I bought on Steam when they were on sale and I forgot I had them. Well, now I've got some time to kill. I'm gonna go play some of those, right? And they're probably going to be better in a lot of ways. So, speaking of AAA titles, speaking of a possible upcoming failure, let's talk about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle Jerk, or whatever the hell it's called, the upcoming Indiana Jones game. I forgot it existed. A lot of people forgot it existed. In fact, Grums pointed out, retweeted Kata here. There's an Indiana Jones game coming out this week and there's zero hype for it. Why is that? I had to comment that, yeah, gamers love AAA modern Lucasfilm titles, right? So this is interesting. They're trying to, I want to pull this up because this actually pissed me off. They're talking about the history of Indiana Jones games, and they actually said in this article on IGN that it's the first proper Indiana Jones video game. Need I remind you that there have been several Indiana Jones video games, and a couple of those came out from LucasArts when George Lucas still owned the company. I would say that they're probably more canonically canonical. Can I say that? You know what I'm saying? Like they're more likely to be canon, or they're more likely to be authentic because of the fact that, you know, they were worked on at LucasArts when George Lucas owned LucasArts, which meant that they could just, you know, walk over to George and say, "Hey, George, what do you think?" And Disney can't do that now, but that pisses me off. These are the system requirements for it. They're actually pretty high, so that might turn some people off here. But let's take a look at this thread again. Going back out onto X, Indiana Jones and the Temple of LGBTQ plus IA plus Ultra, says GigaBear. Kata says it's most likely crap and they know it. That's why they delayed the review embargo until the release. No pre-order, says Based Player. They're doing this for a reason. There are no pre-orders on this game? I think it's on Game Pass, isn't it? Odra says, you know why. They have done something awful, absurd, and unnecessary, so they are hiding everything. They know how people will react. And like most modern creators, they're too spineless and frail to hear the criticism. Never buy embargoed games. Vote with your wallet. Yeah, it's a little weird. I mean, if they're trying to promote this game, why are you hiding it? You know it's bad. You know there's something in the game that's going to piss people off. And you want to get people's money before they find out how bad the game actually is, or, you know, a controversy. Yeah. And I think it's just, you know, by its very nature being a Lucasfilm title, there's going to be more scrutiny for sure. But we know that at pretty much everything Lucasfilm under Kathleen Kennedy touches is quote unquote woke, right? So this game's going to be woke. I can almost guarantee it. And that's what people are suspecting. I mean, if it was awesome and just a straight up old school Indiana Jones adventure and people freaking are going to love this game, they would be shouting it from the rooftops. Like, yeah, this feels like Indiana Jones circa, you know, 1984 or whatever. And no, they're not going to do that. Doodles of Grok says, I forgot it existed. I forgot it was going to be released this week. Yeah. Muriel Redclaw says it's on Game Pass. I'll try it. Machine Games knows how to do first-person games, so maybe it will be good. I don't know. I agree with the general sentiment toward AAA gaming right now, but maybe let a game release first before final judgment. That's the that's the problem. Good games and good movies and good comics, and they're not even getting a chance now because the well has been so poisoned. And you have your peers in the industry to thank for that. Because the well has been poisoned, you have to prove to people that your game's not woke. You have to prove to people that your comic book's not woke. Right? And then people will come around to watch it. I mean, this is kind of what happened with, I know I bring up the D&D movie often, but I actually did like it quite a bit. But I didn't go see it when it came out because all I heard was the producers talking about how they were going to emasculate the male characters. And I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want that in a D&D movie. And the marketing was terrible. And then when I finally got around to watching it like 6 or 8 months later on digital, I was like, this movie is pretty good. It was actually pretty good. You did a really bad job marketing this movie. And you did a huge disservice to people because you had your people out there running at the mouth and trying to get woke points. And the movie itself was not. I didn't think the movie was woke. So, and that's what's going to happen here. It might actually wind up being a very good game that people will only discover is good after the fact, after the main sales window has passed, because it's a Lucasfilm product in current year, and the trend is for a woke, broken, so not just woke and broke, but a broken game as well. Look at Star Wars Outlaws, right? So yeah, let's talk about the state of the video game industry, I guess. Yeah, I don't think there's really much to say about Indiana Jones. It's coming out. If you want to play it, play it. I don't care. I really don't care. I have no interest in it. So there are a lot of layoffs on top of the Ubisoft layoffs. This is an article from PSU.com. It said Embracer let off 900 staff members. Epic suffered huge losses. I mean, all of these companies are collapsing, right? Oh my God, look at this list. Look at this list. This is every instance of games industry layoffs in 2024. Look at this. I don't think this has happened. I mean, not since the console crash in the early 80s, but like everybody's laying off now because people aren't buying these games. But don't worry, guys. According to GamesBeat, the game industry is going to come back to growth in 2025. Yeah, well, if it does, it's because people are going to be feeling better about the economy for one big orange reason. I'm just saying, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think AAA gaming, as we've known it, is broke. I think for forever. I don't think it's ever going to come back, and I think that's probably a good thing, because I think we'll go back to smaller teams doing more, directors having more direct control over their vision, and consumers being able to connect with people. I mean, look at No Man's Sky and how Hello Games has a really great community, around its title. And this is a game that released in, was it 2016? It was a huge disaster. And they've turned it around, and they just keep giving players what they want. Now the game is very, very well regarded. But it's not a AAA title. It's more of a AA, I guess, a AA title. But that's what I think we're going to see more of. I think we're going to see more like AA type games. Maybe they don't have the best graphics ever, but they have a dedicated team. They're putting out a good product. I mean, like I've said countless times in other videos, I'm okay with the graphics not being great. I mean, they have to do their job, right? They don't have to be the bestest thing ever. I'm okay with like PS2, PS3 level graphics as long as the game is good, because I'll go back and play a PS2 or PS3 game over a lot of stuff that's coming out today, right? Some of my favorite games of all time, I mean, outside of 8 and 16-bit games, are PS1 era games, PS2 era games, N64 games. I don't care if the graphics aren't fantastic. They just have to do the job. But this is coming from, what is this? DFC Intelligence. They said gaming is going to surpass the record highs set during the COVID-19 pandemic following the last 2 years of decline. They said, who is this? DFC. They said that the report's findings are not entirely positive regarding the consoles. DFC predicts that only two out of three will see meaningful market penetration. Yeah, people are over consoles too. Now I want to talk about that, because that's going to hurt Christmas this year. There are no big releases this year. This is coming from the Financial Times. This was a couple weeks ago, that Nintendo and Sony are headed into a grim holiday season with old consoles and no big releases. So we don't have the PS6 yet. We have the PS5 Pro. Apparently it's been released. I didn't even realize it was released yet. It said the reviews were not good. The Switch 2 is nowhere to be found. We're talking 7 or 8 years now. Can you imagine? I mean, I guess you can, because I'm sitting there thinking, like, in the 90s, the early 90s, they were still selling the NES. They were selling the NES through like 93 or 94, and it came out in like 85, 86. So, yeah, I can see Nintendo doing that. But at that point, we already had the Super Nintendo. We had the Game Boy. We had a bunch of other consoles, too. But yeah, they said Nintendo and Sony are heading into this year's crucial holiday season with little to offer mass market consumers. One relying on sales of a 7-year-old console, and the other appealing only to hardcore players with a new premium offering that critics say is overpriced. Yeah, $700. You can buy a Steam Deck. $700. You can buy a mini gaming PC. And I know a lot of people are really apprehensive about that. We actually did a video. We got a hold of a mini PC, and we were able to run quite a few like current generation titles on it. I was very surprised. And it was like a $600 machine, and we were able to do that. Plus, it could do everything else too, and it was great for emulation. It was fantastic for emulation. But you're not allowed to talk about emulation and Nintendo in the same sentence, or their lawyers will just like magically show up on your doorstep. Yeah, they said it's not good. They said it's a grim year. Says Gareth Sutcliffe, the head of gaming at Ender's Analysis. Ender's Game. It would be difficult to imagine a holiday season that is less exciting than this one when it comes to gaming hardware. Yeah, players are used to pretty much every year there's either a new console or there's a new major release that everybody's super excited about, and there's like nothing going on. In fact, what we're getting is layoffs. We're getting bad news in the gaming industry. There are some breakout hits, some indie titles, but this year's really, there have been some really, really good games released this year, but there's not like the Christmas game. You know what I'm saying? Like there usually is the Christmas game. And even last year, I think Nintendo had Mario Wonder which kind of came and went, right? I was very surprised about that. Like Mario Wonder, I thought was actually very, very good, but it kind of came and went. This year, I would say for Sony, it would be Astrobot, but that came out months ago. They should have saved it for Christmas, right? They packed it with the PS Pro or whatever. It said the picture is stark for video game releases. No new blockbusters expected this year. And many developers are holding fire for a next generation console from Nintendo, with details expected to be announced next year. Yeah, good luck with that. I mean, it might do okay, but I don't know. For a host of reasons, notably the PlayStation and Switch console cycles, the sector has been in a bit of a lull. The new game launch slate looks set to remain light into year-end. The holiday heavy hitters for PlayStation will mainly include games launched in the last 6 months, like Black Myth Wukong. The typical life cycle for a console is 5 years, but the Switch is now in its 8th year and has sold an impressive 146 million units since its launch in March 2017. More than 65 million PS5 units have been shipped since 2020. Yeah, and a lot of those are probably in the last couple of years, because the first 2 years you couldn't get one. We got one, but it wasn't really, I'll be honest, it wasn't worth buying a PS5 at launch because there were no games for it. It was like, okay, I've just got an overpriced PS4. And that's what we were doing. We were playing PS4 games on it. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Both makers and game developers are looking to the future at this late stage in the cycle and trying to work out where the demand will lie. Bets are increasing that the future will be post-hardware. Oh, this is interesting. Bets are increasing that the future will be post-hardware, with the industry shifting to cloud games becoming platform agnostic, and the only mass market dedicated gaming machines being those that have portable components built in. This is what I think is going to happen to Xbox. I think Xbox is going to be a platform like Steam, and you're going to have like an Xbox enabled TV, like you have a Roku TV, and that's what Xbox is going to be. They said, yeah, Microsoft is looking to sell more of its own games on rival consoles via Game Pass, which gives access to hundreds of games that can be played on its own Xbox, a PC, or streamed over the internet to other devices for a monthly fee. The PS6 or a new Xbox may come to occupy a niche as a higher margin premium product that's not a core part of the business. Yeah, might be that your Xbox is like a Roku box, but you can also get Roku in your TV, and you can, stream Netflix on your computer. That's probably what's going to happen. He said Nintendo's in the hardware driving seat so far. The success of the Switch is forcing other gaming companies to rethink their attitude about portable machines. The Switch is a great idea. It's a great console for what it is. The Steam Deck pretty much fills the same space, right? I mean, I could see them maybe doing something like that with Xbox. Because what is the purpose of a console when your gaming PC can do it better? And like everybody's got a computer now. Maybe you don't have a high-end rig, but like everybody's got a computer. Even a laptop from Walmart can handle most games. So, and what kids are playing today is stuff like Fortnite and Among Us and, Minecraft. So really, it's like, what is the purpose of a console? I know it's easy, but again, if you just roll that feature into like an Xbox-enabled TV or something, there you go. And then the insidious part about that is you're never going to own your games. You're never going to own your games. It's going to be like Netflix. You're going to have to pay a subscription every month to play video games. And I don't know if people are going to be on board with that. I don't know. But that's where they're pushing into now. These games cost a lot of money, and they'll release like quote-unquote AAA titles to get people to subscribe to a service, like Netflix spends a lot of money on a movie or a TV series or something to get people to subscribe to it. That's probably what's going to happen. It said consoles hit a very hard ceiling of demand and they can't get past it, says this guy. The only model that has exceeded that in the mobile space is the Switch, right? So yeah, the Switch is the only one that actually, because casuals pick up a Switch. But again, a lot of what the Switch does, you can do in an iPad too. So it's kind of like, what I'm saying? We've gotten to a point where it's like, what is the purpose of a console? Other than nostalgia. Like, I love my mini consoles and I love my retro consoles, and I was eyeing up the Atari 7800 Plus, which actually uses real cartridges, guys. You have to blow the cartridges out and actually put it in. That's actually pretty cool. And then the 4K N64 they were coming out with, and I mean, that stuff's really cool. But again, that's a niche. That's a Gen X older millennial thing. They said that PS5 Pro isn't going to change the dynamic. They said they're going to target 18 million units to be sold this year, including the Pro. Pro is hardware targeting high-end hardcore users, so we didn't plan for it to have a large contribution to the overall sales in the first place. Then why talk it up? Why promote it? So yeah, it's just like, I mean, we're getting to the end of consoles, guys. It's not looking too good. But according to this, video games are fine. They're going to come roaring back next year. Let's see what else we got here. We'll talk about this. Sony is going to release their free-to-play My First Gran Turismo to celebrate PlayStation's 30th anniversary. My First Gran Turismo. Okay, so Sony's releasing My First Gran Turismo this week. A new free-to-play game that pays tribute to the origins of the series' first game on the original PlayStation. It'll be available through the PlayStation Store from the 6th of December in honor of the PlayStation's 30th anniversary. It has VR2 support for PS5 players. Okay, well, let's look at this. Let's look at this trailer. My First Gran Turismo. Actually see some. There we go. Here we go. Baby driver, I like that. Baby driver. It's free to play. It's not bad for free to play. Baby Driver. Yeah, so there's that. Speaking of trailers, let's look at this one too. This is Fantasian Neo Dimension. And I'm looking forward to this. This is actually the Gooch, the creator of Final Fantasy, coming back to Square. And I guess it's been released for iPad already, but I haven't played it. The only complaint I have is the character designs look kind of bland, but overall it looks more like a Final Fantasy than what Square's been giving us lately. So I don't know why they just don't put him in charge of Final Fantasy and call it a day. Let's check this out.
I started regaining my memories little by little, and all along, we all fought together. Because we knew nobody, not even a god, should get to mess with our worlds.
Yeah, this looks more like Final Fantasy than the last couple of games.
Well, I haven't found all the answers I'm looking for. But at least I'm out seeing the world.
Can't say much for the decor, can you? Better be ready for anything.
But still, we need such power if we're to stop this world from ending.
Look at it this way, bro. You give me hope.
Let's go.
Yeah, this looks...
It's my turn to
Wait,
return
is that
the favor.
Vincent? Did we get Vincent Valentine?
Let's go.
Yeah,
It's my turn to return the favor.
But you weren't
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get this. Like, I'm not
Were you, Leo?
a huge fan of what Square's been doing lately, but
shall triumph over order. Show me what your multiverse is worth to you.
Perhaps they can tell you what you wish to know.
I'll get them all back, whatever it takes.
yeah, I mean,
And what are we waiting for? Let's go to the God Realm.
yeah, Fantasian Neo Dimension. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get this for sure. I haven't played. Like I said, I think it's already been released on iPad or something, but I haven't played it. I need to play this. So we'll finish it up with this. Trump's tariffs are going to cost gamers billions, according to Kotaku, because they have to produce the stuff overseas and ship it in, right? So Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo rallied together to try and fend off the incoming import taxes. A price increase of 25% will put new video game consoles out of reach for many American families who we expect to be in the market for a console this holiday season. This is back in 2019. Okay, so back then it worked. 4 years later, Trump has won re-election on a promise to impose even higher tariffs on everything Americans buy. That includes a proposed 60% import tax on anything assembled in China. That's everything, pretty much in the world, everything. And 10 to 20% import tax on anything else made outside the U.S. On November 25th, the president-elect promised that new tariffs on goods from China as well as Mexico and Canada would be a day one priority. The goal is to raise tax revenue while boosting well-paying jobs in the U.S. I agree with bringing jobs here. I mean, Ataris were made here. We can make consoles here, right? No one thinks gaming consoles will start being manufactured in the U.S. anytime soon. Well, maybe we should think about it. Maybe we should. I'm just saying. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up, guys. Check out Clownfish Minus, clownfishminus.com. Join the Reef. You get exclusive content in our community. We got all kinds of content here, and we're going to be adding a whole lot more. We've also got merch you can check out. Lots of Clownfish merch. And if you prefer, you can go to locals, clownfishtv.locals.com. Thank you so much for watching, listening, however you enjoyed this content, and the support. We'll talk later.